Hi guys, Ian from FootballBoost.co.uk here. Today I'm going to take you through every Pure Chaos boot that was released in 2016. Let's start things off with the very first Pure Chaos that we saw, and they were part of the Mercury pack. That was released back in May of 2016, in time to be used at Euro 2016 and the Copa America tournaments. A whole host of big name players were seen in them, some of them were promoting them, some actually wore them. You saw Gareth Bale promoting them, he never wore them at the Euros. But there are a lot of players like Thomas Muller, he did wear them. And this unique chrome boot was all about Adidas trying to think about the trophies that players win and create a chrome boot based on those kind of bits of silverware really. Now the colorway, it was pretty much a silver upper with accent of a red collar. So this was the first time that we saw the pure cut sock system, which covered the bootlaces so that players could have a nice fit but also a clean striking surface and what they thought was an aerodynamic effect. They looked really classy. They were the first time that we've seen them, and this first Mercury kind of silver and red colorway was a great way to start the Pure Chaos line. Next up were the Paris pack. Now this was a special edition boot pack that was brought out as part of Adidas's limited collection. They had a design of red, white and blue, all based on the flag of France, and that has all to do with the hosts of Euro 2016. They did make them available in street and pitch versions. There was an ace version that went in this pack as well. As I said, it was all about a little homage to the UEFA Euro 2016 hosts. A few players wore them at the tournament. They were a limited release. There wasn't a huge amount of them going around, but they did have those same kind of technical features as you'd already seen on the Mercury release, and overall a very classy release. The best thing about these was probably the sole plate, where it had blue chrome that then faded to the back into the red. It was a little bit different than the Mercury release, because the Mercury release was kind of just a solid silver chrome. This was the first time that we'd seen a color fade on the sole, and it looked really nice. The best thing about these boots was that color fade on the sole plate went from a light blue at the front to a dark blue at the back. It was a little bit different than the Mercury ones, which were just a solid silver sole plate, and this fade effect was really nice and sharp on these boots. At the beginning of July, Adidas brought out their Speeder Light Pack. Those boots were released in time for the start of the 16-17 season, meant we got a completely red Pure Chaos, really stand out on the pitch. It had the red in the sock part and the whole rest of the boot was in red too. It had a lovely red sole plate, pretty much red, red, red. Adidas said they were inspired by the refraction of light during light speed experiments, which sounds pretty technologically advanced, and these boots are technology advanced. Got that lace cover. Very nice boot to look at, very nice boot to wear. Another great release from Adidas. At the same time, there was another boot that came out, and these were the blue and red ones. These were a limited release. I think it was Intersport exclusive. The colorway was called Collegiate Royal, and they had the blue upper, and then that was mixed in with the little bit of red in the sock area. These weren't really supported by very many players on pitch. The sole plate wasn't quite as sharp as has been seen on some of the other boots. The red on the sole didn't necessarily match in with the blue on the upper quite as nicely, but these were definitely a kind of unique boot. I think in the X16s, maybe Deeney at Watford was one of the players who actually wore those. I'm not sure if too many players actually wore the Pure Chaos version. At the same time as the Speed of Light Pack, there was also the Speed of White Pack, which was released for female footballers. Now these boots were designed specifically for female feet, and they were for female players to wear at the 2016 Olympic Games in Rio. The Speed of White Pack meant there was a white base to a Pure Chaos, and it had a half of a design in the red. There's a nice little colour fade between the red and the white. A pretty sharp boot to see on the feet of women players. A few of the US women's national team players were seen wearing these boots at the tournament in Rio. They did look very sharp on the pitch, and these are probably one of the better releases of the Pure Chaos. I haven't seen white on any other boots, so it was a little special extra for the women's version to have that available. From the light of the Speed of White Pack to the dark of the dark space. At the beginning of August, as the 2016-17 season approached, Adidas launched their Dark Space Pack. This was the first black pair of Pure Chaos that we'd seen, and they came out at the same time as a 16 Plus Pure Control in a similar colorway. The new Dark Space Pack had a sleek blackout design for the boots, and there was a kind of shimmering purpley blue effect on the Adidas logo, which was very, very stunning to look at. Very popular, they sold out very quickly. They had that black kind of chrome effect sole plate as well. Absolute classy release. If you got your hands on a pair of these, let us know in the comments below. On the 1st of September, we saw the Viper Pack drop by Adidas. We didn't really see any players wearing the Pure Chaos version on the pitch. We did see Paul Pogba in the Pure Control version of the Viper Pack, and it had this kind of snakeskin graphic all the way over the upper. and it even went over into the sole plate as well. So they managed to transform that graphic over the complete part of the boot. The only part that didn't have the graphic was the sock part, which was in the black. A really crisp boot to look at, really stunning to look at, not that many made, and wasn't a massive release. But the next boot that came out was a real limited version, and these were the spacecraft ones. The unique thing about the spacecraft pack was that they were limited to 1,000 pairs and they were leather. So we had seen a leather Mercury pack, and we'd also seen a Mercury Speed of Light in the red released for the Pure Chaos, but it was in very limited numbers, mainly in China and a few other smaller markets. It was pretty hard to get hold of a leather Pure Chaos. They did exist, much easier to get those than the Pure Control, which was seen for the first time in this spacecraft pack. 1,000 pairs were only made, and it had the leather at the forefoot and then this really nice kind of snake graphic with the gold over the rest of the boot. Absolutely stunning release. There was only 1,000 pairs made. They sold out very quickly. Had the Adidas graphic on the side in the gold too, a lovely gold chrome sole plate, and then these had the black Tech Fit sock around them. Absolutely stunning release. If you've got a pair of these, let us know in the comments below. If you've got a favourite out of all these boots that I'm telling you about, make sure you drop a comment below telling me that too. Perhaps at the end you can vote in the poll card and tell me which your favourite was in this whole video. So we've got the gold aspects on these spacecraft. They were released on the 14th of September. Pretty soon after, on the 23rd of September, we saw Adidas drop the Stellar Pack. So the Stellar Pack was a much more widespread release. It came across the entire range and it was much easier to get hold of, but they still sold out pretty quickly because they were very popular. One of the interesting things with the Stellar Pack is that it had this kind of star design over the top of the Pure Chaos, and the upper itself was a little bit more leather-like than we'd seen on some of the other uppers. Adidas had been changing the uppers slightly as we went through the range. We started off with a graphic that was on the Mercury pack that didn't quite transfer across to the Speed of Light pack, and then we had this one which was much more leather-like, as I said. Really stunning release. It had white at the front and then gold at the back. They even faded that across on the chrome sole plate, which was a really nice touch, and this was one of the better releases in the Pure Chaos pack in my eyes. Even though it was in the white, they were available in the synthetic. And then the next thing Adidas did was they also brought out a black version, and these were for the leather ones. So you could get kind of the white Stellar Pack, and then there was also a black Stellar Pack that came out too, and that was with the leather at the front. So again, it was another opportunity to own a leather Pure Chaos if you wanted to. Relatively popular. Had the black at the front, had the gold at the back. Another stunning release. And the last pair of boots we're going to look at in this release is the Red Limit Pure Chaos. They were the last ones of 2016 to come out. They had predominantly red at the front, black at the back. One interesting thing is the chrome sole plate had been dropped, and it just went from a normal red at the front to a black at the back. It meant that the sole plate wasn't going to chip off. White Adidas logo on the side. Guys, have a vote in the poll card. Tell me your favourite Pure Chaos. Thanks for watching. Go enjoy your football.